Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to SSG Speaks, the podcast that takes you inside the walls of Camelot. Meet the knights that made Sword and Shield gaming what it is. So pour yourself a flask of your favorite mead and join us for an inside look at the fine folks that sit at the round table.
Welcome to SSG Speaks. This is going to be episode number 6, and we are speaking with the ElectroBunny, better known as his handle VoltRabbit. And I gotta say, the first question I want to ask is, where did VoltRabbit as a handle come from? Because I don't think I know this story.
Well, it is a name swirled in mystery and lore.
Family history?
There's, it's some of it is, quite salacious. No, actually, where it came from was I did some work for a company called VMC, Victor Mike Charlie, and they were partnered with a company called Volt, and together they hired people to do quality assurance testing for the original Xbox console. And I got to work on some pretty cool titles, and
Nice.
Some of it was glorious, some of it was not so much. I had to spend a week testing Barbie's Horse Ride once.
Ooh, that's John's favorite.
Oh, yeah. Yes, people be jealous. I did dodge a bullet, though. I managed to not get stuck on the team that was testing it for a month straight. And those poor souls.
That's brutal.
Oh man, yeah. Now the title I worked on wasn't much better. It was a He-Man title, and it was pretty bad.
Yeah, I could see there being an issue there as well.
But I'll tell you what. I mean, I really appreciated it compared to riding around a featureless world on a horse with a Barbie character. It was
Did you though?
I mean, it did have good achievements, though. That's I think how it became so memorable, at least.
Yeah.
That's the rumor. Yeah.
But anyway, so one of the things that you do as a tester is in games is you may end up trying to see how quickly you can run through the game to see if it's. I don't know what the purpose of the test is really entirely in every case, but anyway, I love just trying to rabbit through a game, and and more these days, it's better known as speed running. But it was good times, and man, speed running Halo back in the day was a good time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Prince of Persia was another one of my favorites that I had to speed run.
From
Anyway,
the NES, or from what console was that on?
that was Xbox.
Okay,
Yeah.
So the remake, because I think the original one was on NES, I believe.
That's correct.
Yes, you're right. But on the Xbox console, the original Xbox console, the 180 is that what we still call it?
I mean, is the next one going to be Xbox 2? I'm confused.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, it was good times, and so from there I got VoltRabbit. I worked for Volt, and I did rabbit testing on video games. It was good times.
That's actually a really cool story.
Mhm.
That's good to know.
Yeah, so that's where it came from. But I Googled it once, and some very interesting results came up. So
Well, now I'm curious.
I won't include that in the show notes.
yeah, probably not. Anyway, So anyway, that's where VoltRabbit comes from.
Have you ever changed your gamer tag, or has that always been it then? I mean, it sounds like it started with the Xbox testing and all that kind of stuff. Did you have something else before then?
Actually, yes. Before that, there was a Gamertag. I mean, it was still Xbox, but it was.
Sorry, I just Googled VoltRabbit. Oh, man. Go on. Sorry about that. Oh, man.
Okay, so
Sorry, what were you saying?
I don't remember anymore. So the gamer tag before that was Bad Jacob. Uh, yeah, it was kind of a joke, in this household. A bunch of me and my friends live together, and we do silly, mischievous things. And when I'd get up to my shenanigans, sometimes some of my roommates would yell something like, "No, no, bad Jacob," you know, trying to get me to stop whatever I was doing, but it never worked. But
Of course.
yeah, so and we were a very Halo centric household. We would take our consoles and take 50 foot long LAN cables and routers and network through the house, and we have duct tape running up the side of the wall and across the ceiling. And
Oh man, those were the best nights.
oh yeah, well, I mean, no, this was like permanent,
Oh,
semi-permanent.
this was a permanent
Yeah,
installation. Nice.
yeah.
Even better.
It's so that we could play multiplayer Halo in our own separate rooms, and then the living room, separately. so, so we so think of it as the earliest form of Xbox Live.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just we'll call it what it is. It's a LAN party, but
Yeah.
but
The permanent LAN party.
Permanent LAN party. Yeah. Well, it had
I
duct
love
tape, so that's how you know it was permanent.
yeah,
That's a rumor.
yeah.
So, before you came to SSG, well, actually, let's start. How did you come across SSG? How did you end up here?
Well, let's
I
see
hounded
here.
him.
Yeah, it was started with me and Jay actually. I was old Tide the Leader member, and real life had kind of taken me away from gaming, so I'd stepped away from TTL, and but I still lurked on and maintained those gaming relationships and friendships and stuff that I had built there. And then when J-Man came around, and I was, starting to be able to game a bit more. There was a little period of relief in there where real life was giving me a break, and J-Man was like, "Oh, hey, it's like I've got this idea. I've been wanting to do something, like this for a long time." And I'm like, "Well, that sounds right in line with what, I like in a gaming community, and I'm ready to be a member of one again." And so off we went, and arose the Castle Camelot.
Ah, yes. A place many call home.
Yeah, I think he was one of the few, like the first, like kind of founding member that was not one of like the original like Overlord staff.
Correct.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, are you also the only ex-TTL that we have on SSG?
I don't think so. I think we might have a couple, Emirati.
Do we really? Okay.
Not current. Not that I
Okay.
can think off the top of my head, but we have had a few TTLers in the past.
Let's see here.
Now, I know Kaz was part of BSG, right?
No, he was part of.
No, he was Geezers.
Yeah. Well, he's so
Yeah.
old. I don't think BSG.
He was
would have
part of
taken him.
Geezy's back then.
Let's see here. Was it not Code Monkey? Gosh, I can't.
I know Gil.
Nah.
Gil used to be TTL, so we
That's right. Call me Gil. That's who
Call
it
Me
was.
Gil
That's
was,
who I was trying to think of.
Was a TTLer. That's the only other person I can think off the top of my head that used to be TTL.
Nice.
But we have absorbed after they have fallen, or even as they memberships were waning and stuff like that. People had left other clans to kind of jump over to SSG just because some of the other clans were falling apart, or after they fell apart and they kind of like Volt decided they wanted a community again. Then they kind of made that transition, and SSG found a good home for a lot of GGN
Wayward
people.
gamers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how does SSG compare? I mean, obviously we love TTL. We're big fans of them and a lot of friends. But ultimately, why have you been part of SSG so long?
Well, I'd say TTL and SSG have the most important element, the environment really, that is something that I need and want in my life. So for TTL, early on, we had this mid-world theme, cowboy, which came along with, the chivalry code, and
Sure, sure.
and and SSG has that too, and it takes more of the caricature of um, the knights of old and whatnot, and hey,
Well,
that's good
just
stuff
throwing it out
too.
there, not to spoil it, but they're of the same lineage. Just saying.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you're right. The Knights of Eld, the Knights of Old.
Yep.
Yeah, no. Yes, yes. Not to be missed there.
Right.
And so it's that same sense of camaraderie and brotherhood and sisterhood, and and yeah. I missed it with TTL, and thankfully I was able to find another community, of the same cloth, but also unique in of itself. There was a lot of really interesting personalities and people that I got really close to in TTL. Um, but you know, there came a point where, yeah, a lot of people were, also hitting these real life walls, and
Hmm.
they just couldn't put the time that they used to put into Midworld, and they gone their separate ways and whatnot. They fell away, and so kind of coming back around, back when, like I said, when I was kind of still lurking and hanging out in the community, still getting some games in, but when I started my activity started coming back up, not all those people were there anymore, and it's kind of a
Hmm.
bummer, because some of those people never come back, and you miss that, you miss that camaraderie,
Yeah, of course.
that level of, I don't know, I don't want to call it intimacy, but you get to know people really well, and when you're in a game, like Halo 2 or something like that, and you want to be victorious, and you guys really know each other so well that you don't even have to talk, you're just communicating,
Yeah, that's the
because
best.
through the game and in ways that just you never thought possible. Anyway, yeah, you really sync up with people, and then you can lose it, and then it's really a special thing when you can find it again, just as good, if not better.
Yeah.
This
Well,
SSG
for
has
sure.
been, a family outside of my own family, and yeah, geez, don't know what I've done these last many years without you guys, even in those times where I was very quiet and distant.
Well, I think that the three of us, we're in that kind of allies for the win group, because even Volt, like you were saying, you were part of TTL, like you had come back, and TTL, much like us, has a kind of like a reapplication process. If you're gone for a certain amount of time, you really can't just jump back in and say, "Hey, I want to be a full member again." There's kind of there's a process to it,
Yeah,
and you had kind of come back, and we had met you on the forums and knew that you were an emeritus gunslinger there, and you ended up jumping in with us, in all of our Halo shenanigans, right? So that's
oh
what
yeah,
when SSG started, like I felt like you were obviously a natural person to ask and want to join in at the ground floor, and the rest of it's history. But I think, like you're saying, we that group we developed that, right, that communication where we're not even talking. We know who's going to drive, who's going to gun, who's going to get the flag, um, who likes what map. Like we just knew all those things, right? That was so cool that we could just interchange people even, and not have to worry about, oh no, that we got two new people. Who's going to be the gunner? Who's going to be the driver? Like
yep,
for the most part, those things were just wasn't needed to be non-communicable. Like we just knew. It was
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, something magical just about knowing each other's strengths and stuff. Just nobody's fighting over the sniper rifle.
Yeah,
No.
the
It's like
shotgun's
Nobody
mine.
touches Jay's shotgun.
Yeah.
we all know who's the guy who's the best with the shotgun. It's just like,
Yeah, yeah. It's just a fact. So Volt, how many clan members have you actually gotten to meet in person
from SSG or TTL or
from SSG mostly?
SSG. Oh, um,
Doesn't
I'm
sound like a lot.
I'm drawing a blank here. I want to say I've met some Jetstream, or is Jetstream SSG?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
because he was TTL, wasn't he before? No,
No,
no, he wasn't. So that Jetstream, I think. Wow,
Well, if you're gonna meet one,
I'm
that's a
going
good
senile.
one
Wow.
to meet.
Jeez, yeah, no. Sorry. That question kind of just started digging up all kinds of crazy memories all at once. Sorry, I'm a little overwhelmed at the moment.
Oh, you're good.
Flash me back to an event. There was this get together. I was working downtown Seattle, and some of my coworkers were getting with me and some people from TTL that were meeting at GameWorks in Seattle, and they ended up, bringing some other people that were in the clan that were also, work for Microsoft and Bungie and stuff. And so I met BS Angel from TTL there, TTL Kylie, Chris TTL.
Oh, Kylie.
Yeah.
Huh.
TTL Crystal.
Mm-hmm.
She
Crystal Eyes?
was SSG at one point, yeah.
Yes. And I'm trying to remember who else was there. The guy in Microsoft that he's the one that designed Zanzibar. I forget his game.
Ooh.
I forget his
That's a
game.
great map. I love him.
Yeah, he was awesome, and he paid for a few drinks, including some afterburners, which are shots that include Tabasco sauce. That was fun.
Oof.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good night.
That
Yeah.
sounds like a hell of a night.
Yeah. I got a buddy that I don't know if I've brought him into any of our games. I'm pretty sure I have a time or two. Wanzi. I think the Gamertag I brought him was Longshot, DW Longshot or something. Anyway, he was there with us. He's one of those coworkers I mentioned that met up with me and my friends and there.
Nice.
And yeah, and then some years later, I met Code Monkey and Jetstream and Code Monkey's wife. And they
Was it at
actually,
PAX or where was that at?
yeah, they'd come into town for PAX, and they actually bust up into Linwood, which is just a bit north of Seattle, and they met up with me at a place called the Rockwood Fire Pizza. It's a local pizza joint. It's really good. They brew their own beer too. It's actually really good pizza. I mean, if you're a fan of pepperoni pizza, I mean, like it's a must-have. Super good stuff. Good music too. It's hard.
Duly noted.
Yeah, hard rock themed, good classic rock. So.
So are you pretty? How far are you from Microsoft and Bungie and all those places up there?
Just a hop, skip, and a jump, really. I'd say without traffic, I could probably be on campus in about 30 minutes.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Have you been to the Bungie campus?
I have not been to the Bungie Studio campus, actually. I've been nearby it.
Many
than we can say.
Yeah, many times I wanted to go stop by there, but I never did quite make it in.
Yeah, that's one of my goals for sure. At some point to head up there and see Bungie and get
We'll
kicked
just need
out
to
by
make a
their
land
giant
in Seattle.
bodyguard.
I did work in the same building as NMOS Studios. NMOS they did Terra Online.
Yep.
Yeah. And yeah, I've also been inside the front hallway for a company called Axion. Axion.
The healthcare?
No,
Oh, Axion.
it's a software company that develops stuff for law enforcement.
Oh, yeah, you got me.
Yeah. Anyway, their entrance, they had like an extra $30,000 to throw around, so they built a replica, like it looks like the doorway into a spaceship. It like the doors like it's all big hulking metal, and it slides open, and like fog machines spray. It's super dramatic. And
Holy cow!
That's rad.
Like
Yeah,
every time somebody walks in.
it does not look cheap. It looks like something that could be straight out of like a movie. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Damn, that's really cool. So it sounds like, you're definitely not new to gaming. You've been part of clans and all that kind of stuff before. What's your gaming heritage and your lineage. Like, what was your first console, and what got you into gaming when you started out?
Wow. So, my imagination was captured with video gaming, when, as far back as the Atari. Um, I got to see things like those in the Sears magazines, and, I was a little poor kid that grew up in the boons. I'm old enough and from an area that was far enough, in the past that I know what it's like to have a party line in your neighborhood.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. Pick up your phone, you can see who in the neighborhood's on the phone talking, listening. Good stuff. Hot gossip about the next door's neighbor's horse about to give birth. Yeah.
It's so funny that phones
Yeah,
used to work like that.
so I grew up very low tech, but early on in the 80s, about 1985 or so, I think I got my first Nintendo.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when they came out. That makes sense.
Yeah. And I think it was maybe a year after 86 or so, because my buddy got it about a year before me. And it's funny because he was even more a little home on the prairie than I was. Yeah, like the kids didn't go to school; they made their own clothes, the whole thing. But they got a Nintendo before I did.
Bastards.
Dare they?
Yeah, yeah. They were.
So would you move on to? Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to mention too. It's really funny too because their gaming selection was Ninja Gaiden and Moses, like the Moses Bible Adventure or something like that.
Those don't seem related, but
Yeah,
Not at all.
No, it was an interesting contrast in their household.
I thought you were gonna say Ninja Gaiden and Battletoads. I'm like, damn, the two hardest games out there.
Oh, dude, I loved Battletoads. That was one of my favorites. Yeah.
Who didn't? Oh, I love it.
After that, it was Sega, and then I had the
Okay.
Sega Genesis, and there's always going to be a piece of my heart with Sonic. But beyond that,
So you got a Nintendo first, but you have a soft spot for Sonic instead of Mario.
oh, like I always got a soft spot for Mario, but
Oh, okay, all right.
and I did have a Game Boy, actually, and I think
Oh, there you go.
yeah, and we got that for our road trips to California. We did a lot of road trips to California, so that was really cool, and we got that. And Super Mario World is the coolest game ever.
Oh, for sure.
But
100% agree.
but yeah, so yeah, Nintendo, Game Boy, Sega Genesis. Then, well down the road there, I got myself that first PlayStation. And that was amazing. That was groundbreaking in so many different ways. Final Fantasy VII, with the FMVs is what they called them back then.
Yeah.
oh yeah, those movies were amazing.
Yeah, and just I go back and watch
That's
them
one
now,
word for
and I just see, Cloud and all this polygonal glory rolling out on
Oh,
that
man, it's
motorcycle. Oh man. Oh, but it's so good though.
it is.
It's
It is.
so good.
It's good in the worst way,
Yeah.
or bad in the best way. I don't know which.
Yeah, they're still working on a remake for that, right?
It's out
It
actually.
just came out?
Yeah, it's been
Okay.
out for about a month, 3 weeks or something like that. So that was my question. I was going to ask you if you played it. So I guess you haven't.
I
It's
haven't.
On the PS4.
Yeah, I've been
And
sleeping
I
on
know
that.
you have one of those.
Yes, I do. Been a little distracted, but yeah, that's great news, man. I'm excited. Now, well, you know what my next purchase is going to be.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely go relive those battles. Fighting the Emerald monster and the red and the Ruby monster.
So, what systems do you have these days?
Oh Jesus. Okay. So yeah, somehow I've slowly but surely managed to be the gamer that I wanted to be. Have all kinds of consoles and stuff. So right now I have two Xbox Ones. One of them is an Xbox One S. One of them is the chunkier model. Still have an Xbox 360. We also have a Switch, and of course I have my PS4. It's just a standard model PS4, nothing fancy. Be nice to step up to some of those higher and more high performance models.
Just wait for the PS5.
Yeah. Then I got a couple of gaming PCs. One of them's an aged higher end one. The other ones are Frankenstein and perform remarkably well for what I've thrown at them. So
Nice.
yeah, they've kept my kids happy. Yeah, unfortunately, my big Mac tower died.
Oh, that sucks.
Oh,
Those are expensive.
oh, dude, this thing was like this thing at full retail value, original retail value, was between 4 and 5K.
Oh.
32 gigs of RAM, DDR3, had a 12 core 3.6 gigahertz processor, 4 terabytes of storage, and two Radeon 5870s, I want to say.
And it just quit on you?
No. One of the kids brought a bowl of cereal downstairs, dropped it, hit the floor, and catapulted all the milk directly into the cheese grater front end.
Oh, God, that hurts. Oh, man.
Yeah.
I was going to say, that computer should not just up and quit on you.
No.
Oh, man, that's painful.
No, it was a beautiful beast, and it weighed like 200 pounds.
Yeah, those things are not light.
Oh man, but I had another one that wasn't quite as beefy as that one. It only had a single video card in it, and I mean it's still a pretty beastie thing. My kids kind of got their first taste of Minecraft running that thing, and are really spoiled by the performance. Let me tell you.
That sounds like it.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're due for a new cheese grater then.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah, those things are fancy.
I can't decide if I like those holes or not. I haven't seen one in person yet, but I can't decide if I'm going to be like freaked out by it or if I'm going to think it's cool.
Yeah, one of those phobias. Can't remember the name.
Yeah, I've got a little bit of that going on as well.
Yeah. So, since you've been part of SSG, since the beginning, what do you think is one of your favorite moments, that you've got to experience being with the clan for 10 years now?
Jeez. So SSG, let's see, thinking back over the years, I mean, it's really remarkable how much time it has gone by. It's just staggering, I just think backwards, like, when did this all really begin, and it was somewhere, with TTL, it was in the later side of mid 2000s, 2006, 2007, somewhere in there. And, and that was, 3, 4 something years. And now we're here. Gosh, yeah, to recall a certain moment, from between then and now. Wow. I'd say one of them that I really, remember, it's like gaming with SSG, and I think it was pretty early on into the whole forums and all that. Jumping into a game, and I'm rolling around on a Warthog with the Gauss cannon, and it's kind of a mix. I think it's a mix of TTLers and a mix of SSG, and I think it was one of the earlier bigger times that I got to play with you, and I remember being pretty excited because I was just wrecking you guys with the Gauss cannon, and you guys
Brag about it.
and you guys were impressed. You guys were like, we're not even mad. I'm just, and I'm like, yes, they think I'm cool.
But I mean, that's how those mixers were, right? Like, I feel like, or not even the mixers, but even when we were playing Big Team Battle and playing all night in Halo 3, even if our win-loss ratio, was, we were only 20-30% wins, it was still fun. Like, we got done with it, and typically you're not mad, you're not frustrated, you're not angry, because it was just, you're having a good time and you're playing with all your friends, and especially
you're just hanging out.
Yeah, when you play those mixers, when we play with SSG versus TTL and stuff like that. That was some good, probably the most intense games I've ever played, because you want to win because you know everybody on their team, and it's intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when you kill somebody that you know, it's more fun.
Yeah. Yeah, we all just loved it. Just it was great. Even the guy with the sniper rifle that's just leagues better than everybody. You just laugh. It's good. It's fun.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, and the truth, to be honest, it's great having someone like that to just rail on you because they make you better.
Yeah,
It's,
for sure.
and eventually you just start beating them, and they're like, "Well, this isn't as fun anymore." You're like, "Now it's my turn." But yeah, aside from that, it's not so much any big experiences. It's really the kind of experience that I've needed out of this community, and that community in this community, delivering on that, time and again. And that experience is the one where I get online, and it's been forever. We get in a party, we all, play the game seriously, but we have fun regardless of whether we do well or not. We might
Yeah.
get crushed, we might dominate, and it's, fantastic when we dominate. But the important thing for me is no matter what's happening, no matter, who sticks who in the back of the head, you know, it's a good time, and that's the escape that I look for when it comes to the community and to gaming in general. It's like, have a good time, because everything else is shit. you know, let's let's cut out a slice of good time for ourselves, and everybody's just like-minded, and everybody's different, but at the same time, we're all there for the same reason. It's to have a good time, and to make sure everybody else has a good time too, and
Yeah.
to play the game the way it was intended. And yeah, can't tell you how valuable that is. Just all those years and nights of just good games, and that's what it's been all about for me.
Yes, it is.
That's right. So what do you do outside of gaming? What do you do for work?
So I'm an IT manager.
Okay.
Spent many years being an IT technician, and then I started managing technicians. Um, got the privilege of doing the IT work within the company of Nordstrom. They're a high-end fashion retail business, the best there is really out there in the continental
Yeah.
United States anyway. And we've branched out into Canada. And trying to branch out even more. But yeah, they have their own IT, which is really cool, and not something you see a lot of anymore. A lot of stuff is contracted out, and
Yeah.
it was very much, actually a lot like how we like our online communities. Very positive, professional, like-minded, but also fun and imaginative. Not stuck up. You think about the fashion industry, and you can picture quite a few flamboyant personalities.
Yeah.
And definitely Nordstrom corporate has that in leaps and bounds. But everybody's really cool. The butt heads are very few and far in between. And
That's good to hear.
yeah, and so I managed to find myself a place to work, that is very similar in some ways to the community that I like to, be around, because we're a community of professionals, and it shows.
So how long have you worked there for?
This will be my 15th year. Can't remember what month. I think
Whoa.
June or July, maybe April. I can't remember.
Wow. Well, congrats on that.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
thank you. Too bad it's it's
Wow.
a threshold I'm probably going to cross while I'm furloughed. So that's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot of that going around these days.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, so that's what I do. I'm an IT manager for Nordstrom. I support everything on their corporate campus. That's everything from their Macs to their PCs to the switches that provide the infrastructure, to the servers that are attached to those switches, to the data centers that we have located on our campus as well. Everything top to bottom, front to back.
So you have to deal with all the point of sales and all that kind of stuff too, I guess then.
Fortunately, I don't have to deal with the point of sale very much, but yes, I do. In part because one of my main buildings is the flagship store one. That's where the Nordstrom brothers sit, and that's where all the executives are. That's where the store is underneath all of them. Those 4 floors. It's really 5 floors, including the sub-basement, but 4 floors of retail right there. I don't directly have to go down and work on those registers, neither do my guys. But every once in a while there's an emergency, and also the infrastructure, like I said, that supports all of that I do support. So if that goes down, the store and the registers go down, and it's on me to make sure that doesn't happen.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we've we talked about you living in the Pacific Northwest. Is that where you grew up, or where were you born and raised at, or where have you spent most of your life?
Yep. I joke around a little bit. I like to call myself a Pacific Northwest Islander.
Okay.
So, I have a cousin that lives in Hawaii, and it's a bit funnier when I tell the joke in front of her. But, yeah, so that's Whidbey Island, not far from where Seattle is. It's about an hour and a half drive from Seattle, 2-hour drive-ish. Beautiful place, real boring place to be a teenager, but it is beautiful, and kind of got that mix of growing up as a farm boy, as a boy that grew up in the woods cutting lumber, also out on the sea fishing, and then went to schools that were very mixed because it is a Navy-based town. The Whidbey NAS is there. I grew up with jets flying over my house. The roar of a jet is actually something that is very soothing to me. It sounds as soothing as like ocean waves to me because I live next door to a Navy air station, one of the biggest ones we have.
We got all these military brats.
Right, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, so I am not a military brat. I'm pure civilian, but I grew up with them, very close to them, so I might as well be, in certain ways. But yeah, it's funny. You'll see the house that I grew up in. You'll see the Navy base, and you're like, yeah, you'd be surprised we weren't deaf, growing up.
That's cool. Yeah, we had our episode with Code Monkey, Simeon Chaos, and he said he grew up on a little island that was a military installation for the Navy. So that was pretty interesting. Something we didn't know for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah, you see interesting things when you grow up like that. I was aware of the existence of the stealth fighter, not the stealth bomber, the stealth fighter, before it was publicly admitted to exist. They were doing test flights over the top of my house. So me and my little brother are standing out in the field watching this really cool, almost spaceship-looking jet fly around, And
wait, you could see the stealth fighter? That doesn't make sense.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, they'd fly that bad boy right in because like the landing strip is just right down the hill from my house. And it's like we literally lived overlooking the Navy base. And I remember telling my friends at school about it, and they didn't believe me. A couple years later, it comes out in a newspaper exactly how I described it, and I'm like, "See."
Told you. That's funny. So what do you do outside of gaming and work? What are your hobbies?
Let's see here. Well, I still homebrew a little bit. Shamefully not as much as I like to, but
you've never sent me any beer. Just reminding me.
Yeah, I know. Whenever I do brew it seems to get consumed before it can get sent anywhere. Not sure who does that. But anyway, besides homebrewing, well, my house keeps me real busy. I don't know if I want to call it a hobby, but it's definitely something that keeps me busy. Yard work, interior work, fixing things up. Right now with the weather warming up, we get to, get back to tending to the yard, and I like it. It's really important to me to get out there in the green greens and the blue air and all that. Yeah, it's just I need to recharge, and nature is what does it for me.
Yeah, no doubt, dude.
Cool.
I understand that all too well. So, have you always? I know you grew up in the area and you've always lived there. Have you gotten an opportunity to travel? Have you gotten to leave the states? Anything like that?
A little bit here and there. For my honeymoon, me and Jennifer went down to the Dominican Republic. That was amazing.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, we got a really cool spot, and just everything worked out really well. And because we were actually, polite Americans, the people like hooked us up and treated us really well. And yeah, unfortunately, I was really embarrassed by the way a lot of my fellow Americans that were attending the place, acted and behaved and spoke. And
Yep.
wow,
Yep.
wow, it was pretty embarrassing. But fortunately, they liked us. Yeah,
Hey, that's a win for you.
yeah. Kind of helps when you say please and thank you. It goes a
Yeah,
long
no
way.
doubt.
Goes a long
It's the
way.
little things.
Yeah. But man, that was an adventure too, though. When we first landed there, like the part where we get from the airport to our resort was not really very clear or in English.
Oh, yeah.
So
That happened to me in Mexico.
yeah,
It was very difficult.
unfortunately, Spanish is my second language, and the way that you speak there is a bit different. It's not Spanish. Well, there is no such thing as
Yeah,
Spanish.
from
There's
classroom Spanish.
yeah. But so I end up in this little propane-powered minivan with my wife.
That's a thing.
Yes.
that is the best sentence yet to happen on SSG Speaks.
I mean, that would be in the newsfeed for sure.
Yeah, and
Oh man.
yeah, so it's me and my wife, and we're in this propane-powered minivan, and these like 5 or 6 other guys, like, and they're not big guys. They're like they're a little petite for a people, but they're anyway all wearing these yellow shirts. So I think they're all working for the same company that seems to be busing tourists around, right? And so we start venturing off, into the Dominican Republic in this vehicle with these guys, and it's just me and my wife and these guys in the jungle. Apparently,
Oh, okay.
it's very
Sure.
very underdeveloped, and let's also describe it as war torn. You're driving past these, concrete structures with giant holes blown through them. Occasionally, you see these guys in these uniforms standing there with these what appear to be shotguns. And you're like, where am I? What is going on? And where are you taking me? And and also while we're going around, I'm looking through the paperwork and stuff, and actually, realize, I'm like, oh, I realize this is, this is the place, the name of the place I need to, tell him where I'm going. And it's good that I actually pointed it out because he was taking us somewhere else. So he's like, oh, okay, I know where you need to go. And actually, it sounded like it was closer. So he was happy about that, and so were we. But I also have to mention, like, as we're going on this little journey, like every once in a while we're stopping just in the middle of nowhere. There's no and this is thick jungle. We're talking about like this, dirt road, and the jungle is like you can't see through it thick. You got walls of green on all around you, and these guys are stopping and just getting out at random. And sometimes they'll stop and someone else will get on. So my wife's looking at me like, "What the hell is going on?" Right? And I'm looking at her like smiling, like everything's fine, honey. And then like I'm joking with them in Spanish. I'm like, okay, they sound friendly enough. I don't think they're gonna harvest our organs, But just in case, I was keeping a strategically firm grip on my pencil. Anyway, long story short, we made it to the resort, and it was amazing. I spent like $900 on this food package, and it was worth it.
Oh yeah.
Man, we
Nice.
did that in drinks the first night.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's the all-inclusive package where you just walk around the whole place. They have like 5 or 6, 7, like 4-star, 5-star restaurants on the resort. And it's just all on. You have the little bracelet for the food package, and they just give it to you.
That's awesome.
You ask for it, they give it to you. Bottles of wine, whatever you want. Food, exotic French, Chinese, whatever. It was crazy. I am sorry, you got me ranting about my honeymoon.
No, by all means, man. Rant away. Is that the only place you've ever gotten to visit?
Not that's probably the furthest and most exciting exotic place. Other than that, just a couple spots around the U.S. here and there.
Okay.
I've been out to the East Coast a little bit. I spent a little time in New Jersey doing a store upgrade out there one year. I stopped out in Toronto when I was a teenager for a bit. Been up into Canada a few times over. British Columbia is just a few hours north of me, and when I turned 19, I was there every weekend. So, yeah.
Oh man, that's like me in Vegas once I turned 21.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there anywhere in the world that you'd want to go? Any dream destinations?
Oh yes, absolutely. Ever since I could walk, I've wanted to travel the world. Strangely enough, I didn't strike out to do that right away. I probably should have, but I'll make up for it later. Japan, Ireland, Scotland, all over Europe, really, all over Asia. Gosh, I mean, there's probably no place I don't want to go.
You got that wanderlust.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I hear you.
I think if you asked me when I was a kid what I wanted to be, I think most often I said something to the tune of a National Geographic photographer.
Oh, good call.
That would be fun. Remy and I are both into photography, so we definitely can share that passion. That's something we really like.
Yeah. I'm by no means skilled, but I love photography.
Right on.
So it sounds like you had an interesting honeymoon for sure, and now that things are all settled down, what's the family life like now? How many kids do you have at home?
We got 3 at home. I got my oldest Emma. She's 12 going on 18, and
oof. God, I got one of those.
Yeah. And then I got Noah, and he is 10. He is brilliant. He's a fantastic gamer. And it's really funny because I just see him, playing Fortnite and whatnot, and he's like doing these just insanely fast build tricks and just goes nuts. And and he still doesn't think he's any good. I'm just like,
see, it's people like him that made me quit playing that stupid game.
Yeah, it's just like,
I can shoot you just fine, but if I take 5 seconds to shoot you and you build the Taj Mahal, there's a problem there.
Yeah, no, I played Fortnite pretty consistently because I liked playing with my kids. My kids were playing it too. They're, so I was playing it and it was fun. And Noah ended up running away with it, and I just couldn't do it anymore after season 7. I was just, no, I'm just, okay, I can play the same game for a long time, but that was just too much. 7th season, I was done.
Yeah, I think I tapped out in season 4.
And then I did an update, a couple seasons later, just to, check it out, so, because I see my son playing, I watch his screen, and some cool stuff happens and stuff. So I'm like, okay, let me try this out again. Just utterly decimated, like every step of the way, any moment of the game, anywhere I landed, it was not fun. I mean, like, you can't land and not die. It's just like, I'm like, never mind.
I don't like it.
No. And so I just tucked my tails and went back to Apex Legends.
Oh, see, I'm even worse at that game. I can actually hold my own in Fortnite.
Yeah.
The third person, that's what kills me at Fortnite. I don't like the third person and no aim down sight. I can't do it. That's why I've really been enjoying Call of Duty lately.
Yeah.
Their free battle royale stuff.
Yeah. Anyway.
See, I'd like to try that. That sounds like fun.
Yeah. But so yeah, Noah, he's a avid gamer. He's very smart and super cool dude. And looking forward to
Awesome.
having him become a knight one day.
That'd be
We've
awesome.
talked about it several times already.
I mean, same goes for Emma too. She's a gamer girl too. Just not with the Fortnite. She does, Minecraft and some other stuff. But and then there's Lily, and she's the youngest. She's 8, and she is super cute. super energetic, and yeah, she's into gaming too. She loves Minecraft. Also does the Roblox. All the kids did Roblox at one point, but and she likes jumping on the first person shooters though too. Sometimes she'll man, there was a while there where she kept like stealing the controller from me and playing Apex and Fortnite too. Yeah, I mean, she played Fortnite too. Just on PC, on console, and just a good sport about everything. So I'm pretty happy with my little army of gamers here at home. So.
That is really cool.
Sounds like you've done them well.
Yeah, my kids.
That's awesome.
My kids have recently, in the last couple of months, got into Minecraft really, really big. They're 8 and 5, and it's been so cool to have them in the house and playing games. And I think Minecraft is the perfect game for starting somebody who's never touched a controller, like a child, or even like an adult or something that's never really gamed in their life, to start with Minecraft, because it's not intimidating like a first-person shooter where you're going to be getting shot at and all that kind of stuff. But you can get used to the dual joysticks and things like that, and all the triggers and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, because you can kind of go at your own pace, right? There's not typically a threat in Minecraft all the time. So even when you're in survival, you have the daytime, or if you have somebody else playing with you, you can build and do all that kind of stuff. But they can understand the mechanics of a controller, and I'm hoping that will lead my kids into first-person shooters and other genres and other games and stuff. But I think it was a good stepping block to get them started on and really get a good understanding of video games and controllers and all that kind of stuff. So it's been really cool.
See, my son, he loves video games, but oh god, he's only just recently started to get any good, and he's turning 13 in 2 weeks. It's just I would look at him and how the hell is this my kid? I mean, I'm not wonderful at video games, but damn.
Oh yes.
It's amazing how they develop what skills they're going to have and what they won't.
It's inevitable. Younger generation shall surpass us.
So we've only got a few minutes left in the podcast here. And I'm curious, we've talked about Fortnite, which is a very polarizing game. I'm curious to know if you have any guilty pleasure games, books, movies, TV shows, anything that you like to keep close to the chest. We're going to spill it all right now.
Oh, let's see here. Yeah. Let's see. Guilty pleasures. I'd say, man, well, for a while there it was Fortnite. I'd say no, seriously. Yeah, let me answer this one seriously. So, I do love anime, and I am not what you would call a fan of fan service. It seems to be a bit of a blight on otherwise really cool animes that I like to watch. But
and to those that are not super familiar with anime,
fan service.
What do you mean by fan service?
Yeah, fan service is is animation that is very suggestive or lewd or
okay. Gotcha.
busty or
something Ghost would be into.
Yeah, totally.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay. Got it. I got a good mental image.
Yeah, so so there's that kind of stuff that plagues some otherwise quality entertainment I like to enjoy.
Sure.
So when I say I like anime, a lot of people would probably think my guilty pleasure would be some fan service or something like that. Well, no. My guilty pleasure is animes that I come across that are really done well with their humor and their storyline, but they're also really innocent in their humor, and they pull it off. I like really,
Any examples you can throw out?
Well, let's see here. I know there's an anime called Gintama, which is probably the most hilarious thing I've ever seen in my entire life, and it is so satirical and tongue-in-cheek and random and bizarre and just utterly hilarious. I just can't describe it. It's just so funny.
I'll have to check it out.
There's running gags. Oh man, I mean, like, it is not something that I recommend to people. This is why I say this.
So, well, see, I like anime on the surface, but it always suffers from what I didn't know was called fan service and a lot of over the top.
Yeah.
I like the humor. I like a lot of the art. I like the way it feels a lot of the times. Excuse me.
Yeah.
But like, I loved Ruby. Ruby was a lot of fun for me to watch.
Oh yeah, Ruby's a really good example. That one's very cutesy and cute. I don't know. I can't really come up with any other word that's.
It's well written. It's good. It's fun.
Another recent example that actually it's very recent and it's very good. Two recent examples, really quick here. I know we're running out of time. There is it not No Game No Life. It's a anime series about a young boy that is a game fanatic, and this starts out in the early 80s. And basically it's a progression of gaming history, so it's super nostalgic to watch. But it centers around the rivalry between this young boy who's just like he doesn't care about anything except for video games, and this girl who's like this mysterious, quiet thing that doesn't talk and just shows up in an arcade one day and just crushes him in this video game. And it starts this rivalry, and it's super cute and super sweet, and there's it's total guilty pleasure for me because it's like, really, 40-year-old grown man watching this. I'm like, it's an anime.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I mean, like,
nothing wrong with that at all.
It's like, to be fair, like, the characters are like my age, and when games were developing and coming up, Nintendo and PlayStation and the game, or the Game Joy, the one, the Japanese version of these things, because that's what they're talking about. It's super cool. It's but anyway, that's the kind of animes that you'll come across. There's another one where it's a new season almost of the Sword Art Online anime. It's a very famous one. You either hate it or you love it. I think it's really cool, even though like they did some weird things with the sequels. But this one's got this girl that goes into this virtual MMO game, decides she's going to put all her points into defense, and ends up becoming this like super OP character in this game. And it's really funny, and it's nerdy, in a gaming world kind of way. And yeah, it's total guilty pleasure, and I'm proud to admit it.
That's awesome, man. Well, this has been an absolute pleasure, Volt. We need to get some games in sometime soon.
Yes, absolutely. I've got a lot of time on my hands nowadays. I am heavy in on Warzone, the free part. I do not have the full game for Call of Duty. Don't think I'll be buying it, but I am enjoying this Battle Royale and the different modes, including Plunder. And definitely let's get some games in. Thank you for...
Yeah, drop me a line sometime.
Yeah, thank you for bringing me in for this.
Absolutely.
Hey, appreciate you coming, buddy.
All right, guys.
Yep. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening. Hope you enjoyed, and we will catch you next time.